Welcome to Cyber Salve, a therapeutic podcast for digital ailments. We're here to ease your online aches and entrepreneurial anxieties, one session at a time, with our host Jordan Brannon and today's guest Chantele Gibson from Athos Commerce. Today's worrying condition, the brain-choking congestion brought on by product discovery woes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jordan Brannon, your host of the Cyber Salve podcast. Today, we're back to treat your digital ailments, the things that seem to bother you, keep you up at night, and just don't let you get the rest and the health and wellness that you so deserve. Today, we're going to be talking about the upper chest congestion that just keeps you from feeling like you can breathe easily, that comes because your shoppers can't find what they're looking for quickly enough. We're talking poor product discovery. I have a special friend and guest of the show, Chantele Gibson, who is joining us. Chantele, why don't you introduce yourself and the company that you're with?
Thanks. I'm Chantele Gibson, as Jordan mentioned. I am the EVP of Global Partner Strategy here at Athos. I was the third employee, fun fact, when we were under SearchSpring, and I've probably been in every single role from, e-commerce operations, product strategy, down to CS and partnerships today. My focus is really to help drive revenue growth and expand market reach and create measurable value for both partners and customers. My expertise expands across e-commerce partnerships, go-to-market strategy, and building scalable programs that help align business objectives with customer needs. Thanks, Jordan, for having me today. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. We're really glad to have you. This is actually the first product discovery question we've dealt with and pain point we've dealt with in the show. So I think it's a really valuable, and especially because we should be airing sometime before Black Friday, Cyber Monday actually arrive. And we really get deep into the December holidays as well. There's a lot that happens there that is all about product discovery. But let's dive in and let's first try and figure out, where does the pain start to show up? Because I think a lot of brands, they go to their site, they do a search thing as part of a product, an RFP type of effort when they're building the new e-commerce store, and then they kind of set it and forget it. It's a feature that's been done, it's been built, we'll move on. And then sometimes they start to realize that maybe things aren't going well. What are the first symptoms, the things that start to maybe come to the surface that tell them hey, maybe this isn't as good as we thought it was?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different ways to look at it. The first thing I would say is obviously conversion rates. Why isn't my conversion rate as good as XYZ competitor? Why are customers complaining that they can't find products? Why are returns, through the roof? I think that's kind of the starting point of congestion. You feel like you're getting a cold, but you don't know if you have a cold yet. Then the second thing is you kind of look at your reporting. Okay, great. I see my conversion rates are really low. I see that there's a lot of search terms that aren't converting, but it goes more to that. It goes to customer loyalty. Are customers returning to the site? Are customers complaining? Do we have a good sense of understanding of what our customers are looking for and not finding? Most likely the answer is no. So when I say, what is those symptoms? It's I think I have a problem, but I don't necessarily know what that is yet. I might be getting sick, but I don't know what I'm sick with yet. And I think that's the key challenge is you have these symptoms where you think you have a problem, but you don't necessarily know if I have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what we want to bring kind of to light is you do have a problem and we can help.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So again, you mentioned a couple of things in there that maybe are places where, again, that pain point is beginning to bubble up. You can start to feel that tension building in the head. Okay, I've got something happening here that's not supposed to be. Maybe it's the back to school season and the kids are home or, coming home from school with presents for you, airborne ones. But so one was conversion rates. And then two, I think you specifically said hey, some of our customers aren't finding what they're looking for. How are brands sort of spotting that something is off with either of those? Is this, they're just sort of looking at benchmark reports, or are they looking at hey, someone actually is paying attention in marketing to customer service, which is always a good thing to think about doing, and is starting to uncover hey, there's a lot of people saying they can't find this product we put on promo. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it can be reporting. I think reporting gives an insight to, necessarily what's being searched and generates no results. But I also think you look at return rates too, is I didn't buy this product. It wasn't the right product. It wasn't what I was looking for. You also see it in your customer complaints. I think it starts with data, and most merchants are using probably a basic level of Google Analytics, maybe a
Mm,
third party behavioral analytics to kind of show that customer journey. But a lot of it you'll see in your returns or your return shoppers too. Because if you have an unhappy customer, the likeliness for them to return is very low, right?
mm,
There's a couple different ways. There's definitely some key reports, but I think it comes down to what are your customers actually telling you? Listen
mm.
to customers is a very interesting theme.
Yeah. One of the things we've talked a lot about on this show and a lot of these different pain points is the customer service team is often one of the first ones to know. They're kind of like that, maybe the immune system or something. They're the first one that sort of is like, hey, we got to deal with something here. But a lot of times, marketing is, knee deep in the next event, knee deep in the next product launch. There's not necessarily this attunement to like what's happening in customer service. So tuning in with those guys, hearing like, okay, what's actually happening here, like, is probably a really good step one.
Yeah. I also think I think you alluded to it earlier is having, your e-com teams or your marketing teams actually physically go to the site and conduct some,
Mm,
searches, shopping experience, testing, because you sometimes don't know what you don't know, right? I've spoke to a lot of merchants where they're like, "Oh, my search is perfect. It's great." And I'm like, "Really? Because your number one product in Google right now, I can't even find on the site.
ooh,
It's buried or it's not found, or you'll get two products when you have a whole category of those products." So I think conducting regular testing is super critical. While looking at that reporting and listening to your CS team and your customers. I mean, there's not a one size fits all, Jordan. I think you're going to learn more about your customer if you put yourself in their
mm.
shoes.
Yeah, that's also, yeah, great test for sure. I mean, like, you go and you do that, hey, quick Google search, like, what shows up? Or if you're part of the modern era, you could do the Chat GPT thing, be cool too. And say like, hey, what's the product that's showing up? Where do I click through? Where do I go to? What's the on-site experience for that begin to look like? And take it to the right landing page, the right product page, or is something I missed here? So that's really good call outs. I appreciate those. If we're looking at like product discovery, I think again, one of the mistakes I see is a lot of people feel like it's a one and done technical solution. Like, I built the house, it should be there. I can walk away from. Is that really a good way to think about product discovery?
No, you built the house, and guess what? You're still going to have ongoing projects. You're a homeowner. So, no matter what you think, yeah, you might implement a solution that might perfect the search better than, what's offered natively, but you're going to get the most by continuously looking at your reporting, finding those key ways to optimize. And when we think about relevancy too, I think a lot of folks immediately think when I search red dresses, if I can get red dresses to appear, I'm in there. That's not necessarily what we're suggesting here. We're saying somebody might search red dresses, but those aren't the right red dresses
Hmm.
for that independent shopper. So using AI or personalization or customer segmentation can really help you further optimize. I think the first step is, make sure when they're searching that they find the products they're looking for, but there's an ongoing optimization that requires continuously testing, looking at reporting, understanding your true customer and the certain segments that are buying your products too.
Hmm. So maybe as a step one, so you are in that spot, you've begun to do a little bit of that self-diagnosis. You've taken a look at your site. You're not really happy with the result that you're getting. You've heard your customer service team tell you the customers are saying the same thing. What is sort of the first maybe DIY step even that's really helpful to start beginning to make that treatment, even if it's not going to scale to all brands? We work with some clients, they're mom and pop startups, and then we've got some Fortune 500 companies we're working with as well. And so one size fits all doesn't really exist, folks. But what are sort of those maybe, hey, like, these are the incremental steps that should be helpful. Start to tell you, because what happens I've seen a lot is like you do that little thing, get a lift, and then all of a sudden you realize I might actually need to invest more time here because I saw little turn, little lift. That seems to feedback. So what would be your early sort of, we'll call them home remedies for this particular product discovery space?
Yeah, so my husband's in construction and he will
Mm,
always don't try to, as a homeowner, don't try to paint your house. Hire a professional to do it, because you could actually create more problems down the road when you try to fix something yourself. And I similarly kind of look at that as e-commerce DIY solutions. The first thing I see many brands and retailers of all sizes try to do is, I'll just, tag some keyword searches in my data, or tag these products differently so that they appear. First of all, that's very manual, time
Hmm.
consuming. So you're kind of creating more work, to basically put a band-aid on a solution that doesn't really give you the outcome that you desire. I've also seen some DIY solutions of, we need more filtering.
Hmm.
Well, you search something very generic like red dresses, maybe color and product type would help as filtering, but my guess is you probably already have that. So adding more filters doesn't necessarily mean that those right products are going to appear, right?
Hmm.
The other thing I see too, which is quite funny, and this is something that OG e-commerce people can relate to, is I got to go change my site design. I'm going to
Oh.
go completely overhaul the look and feel of my site. But guess what? The fundamental search and discovery is still the same. So you
Yeah.
might have a beautiful looking site, but you still can't find products. So
Yep.
I hear that a lot of, I'm not going to invest in a third party tool. I'm just going to go rebuild a whole new site. You're still going to have those same challenges. So I think a lot of people try to start with the data, then they look into, branching out on bigger, more expensive, maybe manual projects that are truly band-aids, and it's not actually solving
Hmm.
and of making sure those right products appear to that end user.
Yeah. What are like the sort of the most crucial moments in product discovery? Like if you're thinking about like in that customer journey, like there's maybe three spots. Like we talk about how few clicks customers really are going to give you before they decide whether they trust or not, shop or not, purchase or not. Like what are some of those really key moments for you when you're thinking about product discovery that you really think that a brand should make sure is getting right?
Yeah, so I think it can start with search, right? For customers that search, they typically have a very specific product that they're looking for, and you want to service that product, right? So you're looking for a SKU potentially, or a particular product name and type, right? So having a good foundational search is key. But I think it goes beyond search, because, depending on the industry you're in, probably under 20% of your traffic might search. So
Hmm.
navigating through a category. You have a returning shopper, for example. You click on new arrivals. They want to see the newest arrivals that are maybe brands or product types that are specific to them,
Yeah.
right? We know you like Nike, or we know you like red. Servicing those results is going to help with those conversions. They're the browsers, right? I also think about the right products, not necessarily being, a red dress, for example, but is this red dress in stock? Is this red dress, featured on Instagram? Servicing the right products goes beyond just relevancy. So that's where that merchandising, personalization really comes into play. Is, yes, you need search relevancy, but you also need to make sure that you have the tools to make sure that you're surfacing the right product for that shopper too.
It's a really interesting example. Like that trend responsiveness is important. We have a client who does engagement rings, custom engagement rings, and did the same sort of unique gemstone style that was featured in Taylor Swift's new engagement ring.
There you go.
And it's the same challenge because there's only certain stones that they're accessing and that they're working with that have that particular cut. And it had no reason to exist really before, and then all of a sudden it's on Taylor's finger. It's the one. So
It's
it's
the one.
definitely that's a great example. What are some of the most common mistakes that merchants sort of make when they're trying to improve their search for the navigation? You sort of see them like someone is trying to do that outside of maybe the whole redesign, but like what are the gotchas? Is it just the over filtering? Is there other things that they try and do that are maybe sideways?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of, so no matter what you're using, I think product data is kind of the foundation, right? So,
Mm,
you could be Target and say my data is great. Chances are there's holes that we could probably pick into that data. So I think, that's why the data is kind of an interesting starting point. Is, I'll just tag these products. So when you search red dresses, that these products appear, but a lot of times they might come in black or green, and red's out of stock. So that dress is still going to appear when they search red dresses, but
mm,
all it is now surface even more of a bad result, right? just because it's not available. So I think they quickly try to overcompensate a faulty search with data, which I am contradicting myself because data is key in product discovery. Or they'll set up these rules that can actually really impact relevancy.
Hmm.
Synonyms is another great example. I had a customer once that she sold men's and women's t-shirts. And when you search men's t-shirts, women's tees were appearing because she set up a synonym. And she's like, well, why am I getting women's tees when you search t-shirts? Because you set up a synonym. So
Hmm.
too quick to hear we need a synonym for that or redirect for this, or we need to tag our product with this, because it can actually not, you know, improve the relevancy. It can actually make things worse to some degree.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those where it's like that, especially the quick fix redirect.
Yep.
Like, oh, we've got a holiday coming up. There's a 404 on this page. This product is out of stock. We'll just redirect it. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, there's all sorts of things that are breaking. There's red lights glaring everywhere. And everybody's like, what's going on? What's happening? Is the site down? Nope. It's just somebody out there was being helpful and decided to save that
Yeah.
redirect. Hmm.
You just really have to understand your customers. And I think customer segmentation is probably like the theme that's really important to me right now because, servicing the same results to every individual shopper isn't going to solve the problem either, right? And so understanding your customers and servicing the right products is really the solution. It doesn't matter if you're going to tag products or even if you merchandise products a very specific way, you still might not actually understand your customer.
Yeah. And how does AI play a role? Because that is sort of the big
Mhm.
thing that we're all looking for. Like, I need that context. I need that personalization. I need this massive data set to become something meaningful quickly. How is AI helping in that particular journey? How is it helping it, making it more accurate, more personal, more in the moment with the customer?
Yeah, I think AI's role in product discovery is a couple things. First of all, it helps understand the natural language and the intent at scale, right? What is that
Mm.
customer looking for? Let's make sure we can help them find it. It also helps surfaces relevant products in real time. It's kind of like a store associate. I'm old school. I still like to go to the store and I'm still offended when somebody doesn't ask me, what can I help you find? But I don't get that same experience online, right? And with the way that AI is today, it can act like that store associate. It can understand, like, what are you truly looking for? I'm going to use an example of like dark denim. Okay, I'm looking for some dark denim jeans. Well, what's your size profile? Are you junior? Are you plus size? Are you looking for wide leg, straight leg? Don't show me skinny legs as a plus size lady. That's offensive, right? So having something that's intuitive to really get me to that result, I think helps play an exponential role in this discovery. But I also think on the analytics side of things. So something that we really are looking at is most providers will say, here's your top search terms, or here's the search terms that generate no results. What about an AI analytics tool that could say, how many plus size women purchase dark denim jeans in New York?
Hmm.
Or, what is the income level of somebody buying this $100 razor?
Hmm.
That's going to really help you with your optimization and help them get to the right products.
Hmm.
So AI can help with guiding the shopper, but I also think AI can help the merchant with the optimization tactics to
Hmm.
understand those customers and those segmentations.
Almost playing a little bit of a matchmaker role there where it's saying like, okay, like we're putting these things together and helping get everybody in the same room and say like, okay, here's what I think everybody's looking to do. Is this right? Yeah, everybody's right. Okay, we're happy. Great. That's really interesting. So now talk to me a little bit about Athos, because obviously you guys have a lot of solutions. We've loved working with you. Just have a great partnership. So I'd love to sort of have you talk through a little bit about what makes Athos stand out and how it actually sort of plays out, maybe with some case studies. We had a chance to chat pre-call about some great merchants that you've worked with, but just kind of give us a little bit of that Athos story and really how you feel like you're maybe leading what's happening in product discovery right now.
Yeah. First of all, Athos is not new to the
Hmm.
e-commerce industry. We've
Sure.
actually acquired several companies, long-term companies such as SearchSpring, my very first company in this organization, to really create a powerful, more unified solution, right? So I think the best thing about Athos Commerce is that we combine that AI-powered search, personalized recommendations, the visual merchandising in one seamless platform, right? We use natural language processing, shopper behavior signals, as I mentioned, unified product data to really help customers find the right products faster, but also give the merchants the tools to optimize their site continuously. The outcome, lower bounce rates, higher conversions, a smoother discovery experience for their shoppers, but also those actionable insights that the merchants need to continuously optimize.
Hmm.
So, really, like one powerhouse to really improve that online shopping experience with a multitude of different tools. Like I said, it's not a one size fits all solution. Some industries are more prominent where they need their shoppers search more often than others. Some are the browsers, right? And so that's where that AI and personalization can really be
Hmm.
that powerhouse.
Mm, really cool. And so with Athos, like when we're looking at like this product discovery piece, what are some of like the really helpful tools to bring in and say, like, especially because we're going to be on a timeline towards Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Where would you say like, hey, let's pull out the toolbox? What are some of the first things that you'd probably bring and say, I think these are going to move the needle on customer support outcomes, on conversion rate outcomes? What would be some of the sort of elements of the Athos toolbox that you think would be really helpful for this Black Friday, Cyber Monday season?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think search is still, even though it's, like I said, I keep saying it's one of those things that people are like, I don't know if I need it. You still
Hmm.
need it.
Yep.
If customers can't find what they're looking for, they immediately bounce. I also think merchandising, right? Especially as we head into the holidays, because certain products that you want to promote during Black Friday or Cyber Monday might be different than what you want to promote the remainder of the year, right? Maybe they're high margin items or gift packs or, holiday promotional items, whatever that may be. I think the personalization aspect is also critical, making sure that we're not just getting the sale through good product discovery, but upselling them at checkout or
Hmm.
making sure that they're not abandoning that cart. So, some methods of retargeting. I think the data and analytics will help you understand, what's performing so that you can kind of make changes in real time as well. I think all of it is really critical, in my opinion.
Yeah. So from a marketer's perspective, because that's where I'm going to be come the holidays, is I'll be knee deep in the analytics reports and thinking about what is the next step for our campaigns. Like, is Athos gatekeeping me? Am I going to have to be sort of, am all of my campaigns tied? Do I have to come back to you? Or is this really where that data that's available with Athos, I can start to actually pull and I can start to think about, hey, this is email, this is SMS, this is paid, this is social, this is, talk to me about how you enable marketers to be more powerful through the holiday stretch.
Yeah, so I would definitely look at what your data suggested from prior holiday seasons or even in the last 30, 60, 90 days, right? I think a search solution, yes. One thing that I can confidently own is when somebody conducts a search, if the right products don't appear and you're using Athos, that falls on us. But I can't necessarily say, okay, you need to go spend all this money in these other channels to drive traffic to the site. I can help that traffic convert, but you want to understand what channels are performing better than others because we do have some tools to help merchandise when, you know, shoppers are being referred by Google or an email landing page or something of that nature. So I think it's not one or the other. I think search is kind of the easiest no-brainer. Let
Hmm.
us just own that. But I think you have to look at your data to help make decisions on where you want to optimize, what products to promote, what landing pages need to be created, really looking at that product performance, which we do offer that analytics to show you those, how
Yeah.
things are actually converting.
Because I think that's actually where a lot of treasure lies as we head into the holidays. We all have a plan, and
Yep.
then the holidays hit, and then the plan goes out the window, and you're kind of in scramble mode. And you need those little places that you can go to that'll have some good data and insights for you that'll be able to really enable you to work. Now, again, these things have real impact on sort of the outcomes for brands. I know you had talked to me about a beauty brand. I think that had seen some pretty impressive results just with some of the work that they've done with you. Can you share a little bit of those particular data points?
Yeah, so we were working with a mid-market beauty brand who essentially was, struggling with cart conversions, right? There was a lot of things happening on the site. People were searching for ingredients, not finding products because that wasn't really the product name. They were seeing a lot of products added to the cart, but people were bouncing. So really quickly, after maybe I don't know, 30 days or less. I'm probably stretching it a little bit, but very quickly, this particular beauty brand saw an 18% drop in
Hmm.
bounce rate, a 22% increase in cart conversions, and actually had the data to really understand behavioral signals. They
Hmm.
also were able to leverage AI to increase product findability, as well as merchandising strategies. This particular company didn't know how to merchandise. I think their CEO said, merchandise these products in these order. And they're like, okay, my CEO tells me to do it. I'm going to do it. But when they actually looked at the data suggested something different.
Hmm.
So they actually have like real-time analytics to help with their strategy, which also created more time for their team to focus on driving traffic to the site
Hmm.
or focusing on other, elements of the business than trying to figure out how can I increase conversions. So really successful metrics and like I said, a very quick time period, maybe 30 days or less.
Which is a big deal. Again, just thinking about sort of like we're talking the end of the year here, so you want to be able
I
to move
had
quickly.
a I had a customer who just just bought Athos for search. He said, "I'm going to do this in step by step. I'm going to just improve my search because it's
Um,
terrible." Within the first 48 hours, his conversion rate had already doubled. And, that was without him doing anything but installing the search solution. Now he's really keen on, okay, I believe you, your search is working. Where can I take this to the next level? Because just minimal increases in conversions is huge revenue.
yeah, especially now. Like this is one of those things where I'm like, now because you're going to have that typical 30% of your year here. And so if you do the fix, you get it done, it's 30% times that, right? So it's a really important time to be aware of it. That's a great case study. What are sort of the best next steps? Are there any offers for listeners of the CyberSalve podcast today? What is the best way to get a hold of Athos? How does the onboarding work? How long does it take? Give us a little bit of that intel, like, I need a cure, I'm coming to you. What's that go?
So great. So we definitely want to we want customers to be successful, right? So we are offering 3 months free for anybody that has watched this podcast and sitting through my voice today. That's definitely an appreciation all
I'm
alone.
with you.
In terms of getting up and running, it really just depends, right? So, working with partners such as Congestion, or if they're looking for our team to support, we can typically get you up and running in a couple of weeks. It really just depends on data, design, deliverables. I would say on average, we're probably about 8 weeks, but to be honest, if you're looking to just install search, that's something we could do less than 8 weeks and still get
Okay.
you up and running for Black Friday. If you're looking to add, the full suite, you're probably looking at that 8 weeks. But I mean, we're still sitting pretty good for timing. And like I said, it just depends on if we're doing it or something like a trusted partner.
Awesome. And one of the beautiful things I know from working with you guys, it's not like you have to sort of wait. It's not like do one and then 8 full weeks go by. There is opportunities to sort of implement and do some of these different things on your site as you go.
Yeah, definitely. I would say like search, very easy for us to install. We just need product data. That's something we can do in our sleep, right? But as you want to start to customize, product recommendations and bundles and create landing page and email, SMS templates, things like that, that can drag things out. But I think baby steps definitely is the right direction.
Awesome. Cool. Well, it was so wonderful to have you on with us today, Chantele, for this quick 30-minute dive into
No problem.
treating product discovery, getting it right. If you have more questions about product discovery, please shoot them into the show. We'll have some contact information for Athos, as well as some opportunities to follow up with us about product discovery before the holidays hit. And so we'd love to be able to work with you on that pain point, see you cured, see you making those customers so happy, make your customer support team a lot happier because less tickets around the holidays is also a win. And then also looking at better conversion rates in a real key part of the year. Thank you, Chantele.
Thank you, Jordan.
It was a pleasure.